Welcome back to the Anti Madden channel. We are back with part 2 of the nickel 335 Sam A-gap mini scheme, and today we're going to look at two new plays out of this scheme. So we've come out in our base cover 2 man out of the nickel 335 Sam. As you can see, we're facing a double set, which is basically 2 receivers on the left, 2 receivers on the right, and we've got the running back on the right. Now yesterday we went over in the last video we went over the 2 options, what we can do whenever we face doubles. This is going to be another option you can go to when you want to bring pressure. So the first thing we want to do is come to our audibles, and we're going to pick the odd overload blitz out of the nickel 3D ends. And if you take a look at the play art, it's again a cover 0 blitz, and we've got 5 blitzers coming off the left side. Now there's your overload, because as you can see here, the nose tackle over the center and this defensive end, they are hugely wide, and there's no defender in between there where the right guard and right tackle are. So you can see that the blitz is coming off the left side. Now if your opponent that you're facing is a decent enough quarterback, he is going to see that pressure off the left side. But the hope is that he doesn't make the adjustment, or he doesn't have enough time to actually find out who he's going to throw the ball to. So the way we're going to set this blitz up is we're going to take this defensive end on the right of the screen, right? So your left end, which in this case is Khalil Mack. We're going to put Khalil Mack and man him up on Eddie Lacy in the backfield. Now what you're going to have is the running back and the defensive end manned up on the same guy. Then we're going to click over, and we're going to do the same thing as silver shoot pinch, just move the slot DB off a little bit. Then we're going to click over twice to user this middle linebacker who is guarding the running back. Now again, our responsibility in this play is going to be to cover the middle of the field just like we did with silver shoot pinch. We're going to take away any quick throws, any quick reads, and hopefully by the time we do that, the sack and the blitz will come in, sacking your opponent. The last part of this setup, we're going to move over this right guard, and we're going to hold left trigger. Now on the snap, what we're going to do is we're going to slide behind our defensive lineman right here, so which for me is 97. We're going to slide behind him, and then we're going to drop back in coverage and try to play any routes that are coming on, any slants, any quick throws like that, any drags like that. Now the thing is, you're going to have to do a little practice with this, because it's not it doesn't work every single time, but that's because the way you slide has something to do with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide over the center, slide over nose tackle, and then back up and play the middle of the field. Now right there, the blitz did not come in, and what we're looking to do with this is we're trying to get this right guard to engage us at the snap and hopefully get him to slide over, which will screw up the blocking on the left side. So let me just move him down a little closer. So what we're going to do, hold the left trigger, slide to the inside, and then drop back over the middle field. Now right there is exactly what we wanted to happen. What happened was an overload, which let that right end slip in untouched. Now if we take a look here, let's take a look and see what happened here. I'm going to actually turn it around this way. So we're looking at 69, the left tackle, and we're going to see what he does. He basically drops back. He has 2 guys that he has to defend. He ends up having to pick one. He picks the outside DB, and here comes the left end for the sack. And that's essentially what you're trying to do on this play, is get somebody free coming off the backside. You can also see that if you're playing in the middle of the field here, any routes that come in, so basically it looks like that route over there, that would be you take that away. And that's all you got to really do on this play. You recognize your opponents in doubles, call the odd overload, pass commit PlayQB, which is going to pretty much annihilate any of these play action plays. A lot of plays, especially out of this double sets, a lot of people like to run PA comebacks, and they look for the deep post down the middle of the field. This play is going to annihilate that. Take this defensive end, man him up on the running back, click over once, move down the slot DB twice, and now you just have everybody covered up. And what we're going to do is move down over this right guard and hopefully try to engage him by holding on the trigger and then sliding to the left and dropping back. So let me just run it a couple times. That time we get a gap coming straight in the middle. So you see the pressure is not consistent in terms of where the heat is going to come from, but the pressure is consistent in terms of it's going to come in, right? So if they don't block the running back, it's going to come in. So let's just run it a couple more times so you can see. Engage. This time it kind of gets picked up, but you see that they pretty much block shed very quickly. So if you don't get that pressure coming in and somebody's able to slide in there, you definitely will get pressure, and all you have to do is hopefully defend for that 2 to 3 seconds, and your opponent, well, that time I get stuck, and you see that the DB who actually was free ends up tripping, so that didn't really work there. Let me run this one more time. And the main thing to remember about this is take away the middle of the field. Even if the play messes up, even if the guy slips, even if you don't actually slide over, even if there's no kind of screw up by the offensive line, just end up playing your position, play the middle of the field. Now that time we get a nice A gap that comes straight through. And all this is a simple football concept where you try to overload the left side of the offensive line. And right here, you can see 71, which is the left guard. He's got two guys. He ends up taking the outside left end and allowing this linebacker to come screaming in untouched. So that's basically the first or the next blitz we're going to cover today in terms of what we can do when we're facing the doubles. Now the next thing we're going to look at, let me just run this one more time, show you one more time. Oops, move this one guy. I don't know why this guy's not moved over. Let's see if it comes in. That time he comes off the edge, right? So you get A gap, B gap, or C gap. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what could happen to you if you call the silver shoot pinch or you call the odd overload 3, which both of them are man blitzes intended to get to the quarterback fast. You've got no deep help, so it could be a touchdown or it could be a sack. I mean, that's what you're going for. It's high risk, high reward. We're going to come out again in our cover 2 man base set. So right now we see doubles. The ball, the hub, they come out of the hubble and we see doubles. Now, let's say we go to silver shoot pinch, right? Silver shoot pinch, move them down. We're like this. So if we take a look at the offense that we're going up against, now what we got is both a smash concept on the left and a smash concept on the right. Now the thing about the silver shoot pinch and the odd overload 3 is that this particular route combination, well, it's mainly the corner routes. They're the ones that you can get really beat on. Because if I just drop back, hit this guy, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have a huge play because you've got off-man coverage. And because you've got off-man coverage, let me just set this up real quick. Because you've got off-man coverage, you're not impeding the routes, these corner routes. And as soon as he snaps it, he's only got about 1 second, and bam, he makes the cut. So your quarterback doesn't need 2 seconds to throw the ball to one of those routes. And that is where the silver shoot pinch can get beat. So the weakness of the silver shoot pinch is corner routes or anything where it would only take a few, like 1 second for your quarterback to read. Okay, man blitz, bam, let me hit the corner route. And that is where the trouble lies, is that if the route you're going up against is corner route, see, I can beat it both ways. That guy, that time the strong safety is a little tighter on the coverage, but I can still get it off every single time. So we're going to go against the adjustment. We're going to go over the adjustment that we're going to need to make if you sense your opponent is going to the corners. Now, I've played a lot of people just in the past few weeks who I've noticed that all the plays they have are all corner routes. It doesn't matter what formation they're in. That's the main thing they're looking for, is corner routes. So if you recognize this, your guy hits you, you run silver shoot pinch trying to bring pressure, but he hits you with the corner route. Or in a third down situation, you recognize, oh, that's his go-to play. That's his go-to play. He's looking for the corner. This is your adjustment to take away corners. Now we're going to bring up the audibles, and we're going to go to mid-zone blitz. Now if we take a look at this play art, it's a fire zone blitz, 3 deep, 3 underneath. But what we're going to do is make a few adjustments to this to kind of get it to a coverage style of defense. Now once we audible to it, first thing we're going to do is base align. We're going to show blitz, which is going to bring an aggressive type of look. The corners are down, the safety comes down, and everybody is in the box showing, hey, we're going to blitz you. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come to this defensive end on the right of the screen, and we're going to put him on a blue zone, flat zone. We're going to click over twice. That's going to take us to the linebacker on this side, and we're going to put him in a blue zone. Now, if you look at it now, the play art, what we've got now is what is essentially a cover 3 drop type of defense, where we've got the flats covered, 3 zones over the middle, and the 3 zones back, right? So we've got a decent amount of coverage over the field, and we are only going to rush 3 guys. Now, there's a couple ways that we can play this. After you've put this guy on a blue zone, click over twice, put him on a blue zone. We click over once, and we've now going to user Smith. Oh, there's one little thing. You can, if you have time, move Allen into the box, making it even more aggressive of a look. And then you click over 3 times, and that will take you, and then you just click up to get back to this linebacker right here. Now, this is the linebacker we're going to user. And we can user him because we've got zones all over the field. And now all we can do, we've got 2 choices. We can rush the quarterback, or we can drop back and try to play the seams. Because what the weakness of this defense is, you see this area right here? This area right here, this seam, and this area right here, this seam is the weakness of this defense. But the problem for our opponent is that he doesn't know that. And if we know that he's going to the corners, this is essentially what we're trying to take away. So just this setup right here, I'll show you that if we try to throw to the corners, it won't be open. That guy just bats it down. Every single time, the corner routes will get batted down or even intercepted. Show blitz, put this guy on a flat zone, click over twice, put him on a flat zone, and essentially that's all you have to do to take away the corner routes. This guy's going to bat that one down on this side. Let's try it one more time. I'll show you here. Now this, because this defense has zones all over the place and it's essentially a cover 3 drop, it actually also does well on, let me swing Lacey, and I'll throw it to Lacey. Let's say your opponent throws it to Lacey. Your defenders are going to get there quickly and keep your opponent to only a 3 to 4 yard gain. It's because you got zones all over the field, so you're not really worried about anything short, and you're not worried about the corner route because that's going to be completely taken away. So right here, boom, this corner again. So this is your shutdown method to any opponent who's trying to go to the corners on you, right? So you audible, mid-zone blitz, show blitz. I forgot to add one thing. Make sure you pass commit PlayQB. Put this guy right of screen defensive end. Put him on a flat zone. Click over twice. Put this guy flat zone. Here's your play art. Click over once. Now I said that there's a couple ways that you can play this. The first way you can play this is you can put this guy who's blitzing, put him on a hook zone, and actually play anywhere you want to. Take away any receiver. If you know he's going to Adams, just play Adams man-to-man and follow him across the field. If you know he's going to this guy, which I can't even pronounce that name, follow him across the field. If you know he's going to the drag, as soon as the play starts, you just sit here in the middle and wait till that drag defender comes across and take that away. Now the beauty about this play is that the pressure that comes off the pressure that comes from this guy right here. Now what's going to happen is sometimes this guy will actually loop all the way around the left tackle and end up getting pressure on the quarterback. So let me just see. If I snap it, I'm just going to drop back and see what happens. See, there he gets picked up, but you will get sometimes where he ends up looping around and actually sacking the quarterback. But the other way to play this is after we've taken away the corner, we want to still bring that pressure with these 3 guys. And the thing is, you can still get pressure because, like I said before, this guy right here, he will every so often actually loop around and just sack the quarterback. So it might actually be a good thing to put a fast, high acceleration, high speed guy at that position, right? Because once the play starts, now this is Justin Tuck, who's not the fastest guy, so he doesn't actually get off the edge. You see right there the other defensive lineman get off the edge. Now I'm going to get into this next way that you can play this, which allows you to actually get sacks yourself. Let me move this guy down, and that's just a personal preference if you want to move this guy down or not. that's just up to you. Now what we're going to do is once we get on this guy, now this is going to take a little practice because it took me a little bit of time labbing it up to figure out how to get it to work. And the best way for me to talk about it is just to kind of quickly explain it and then show you, because it's probably easier to just show you. But the thing is, it's kind of hard. So anyway, as the play, so what you're going to do is you're going to be waiting to kind of hold on the trigger button. And all you do is wait for the snap. And what's going to happen is you see the blitz angle of this guy that I'm actually using. You see he's kind of just going straight at the center. Now what he's going to do is if you just let it sit there and the play starts, he's actually going to just start running that way, right? And that time he gets picked up by the center, right? So that time he gets picked up, then I said it. But what we're going to do is what we're going to try to do is loop around the right side of around the right tackle, right? So got everything set up. Put those two guys on a flat zone. We've now used this guy. And what we're going to do is I'm trying to do it because I got two controllers. But what we're going to try to do is as soon as he gets about here, I'm going to just lightly touch the trigger button, and then I'm going to try to loop around this right tackle right here and try to loop around and sack the quarterback. Don't bump into that dude. All right. So let me just get back to where I would be. Hold the trigger, just loop all the way around. Now that time I get picked up, but I can block shed and get in there quick. So at that position, you probably want somebody who's got a decent block shed, because if your opponent takes more than 2 seconds, you're going to be able to get the sack. Because this sack, looping around like that, is going to take about 3 seconds. So if you with the coverage like this, you know, basically a cover 3 drop, you could potentially get your opponent to be like, oh, that's not open, and then you're coming around looping off the edge. So let me just, oh, I'm on the wrong guy. Okay, let me just throw that away. Let me run this one more time. Let me set it up. Show blitz. These two guys on a pass commit. You can move that guy down. It's optional. And then as I blitz, I'm going to loop around. Oh, wow. Got picked up that time. But you see right there, for some reason, the right guard and the right tackle didn't even guard me as I got tripped over there. Now this thing is going to take a little bit of practice getting it down, because you see I've actually not gotten it down that well. Now right here, there, they double team. So you see right here, and I still looped around a little bit too wide on that one. But what's going to happen is, my alarm's going off. What's going to happen is, let me see this instant replay. What's going to happen is that right tackle, that right guard, they're going to double team that one guy, and you are going to loop around and sack the quarterback. Now if we take a look and I just count it, 1 second, 1 1,000, 2 1,000. Right here, nobody's really open. I mean, if your opponent's looking for the angle route, he's going to see that guy right there in the middle, and potentially he's going to force that throw. The corners, that's the whole point of this play, is to take away the corners, so the corners are done. He could throw it to the flats there, but he'll immediately get tackled for probably a 4 to 5 yard gain. But if he's looking for anything deeper, we're coming off the edge right there. Let me just run this one more time, and then we're going to change the play to see how we would do on some other plays right here. So you just kind of hit that trigger button, kind of block shed. Now right there I get picked up. And this one isn't as, I wouldn't say it's as consistent, because sometimes they will double off the edge and you'll get picked up and you won't be able to get that pressure. The other thing I've seen happen is this guy right here will sometimes A-gap. So you've got the potential to, with this guy, he comes loops around the left. This guy right here will A-gap, and you will be coming off this right side. And so it's a better way of getting pressure with a cover 3 drop type. That time I'm able to loop around. I was a little too wide yet again. But again, it's going to take a little practice to get this one down. Got to get in the lab. Try to get this one down, because even for me, I can't really get it consistent every time. Sometimes I loop around, sometimes I don't. But the block shed, you get that. And so that's essentially what you're going to want to do. Now this, again, is mainly to take away corners. And it also does pretty well against opponents looking for the flat. But let's just run this against another play just to see what it would do. Let's see, let me pick a double set. Let's pick something down the field like inside cross. All right, so in-kite cross. We'll pick that. Show blitz. Put those two guys on the end on flat zones. Pass commit, play QB. Let's just see what happens here. And let's see if anybody was open on this play. Now again, I got picked up. We didn't get the loop blitz around the outside. But let's take a look at what the coverage was like. Because basically this is kind of a max coverage type defense. But with the ability to actually get pressure, which doesn't really happen on a lot of the cover 3 drop plays or the cover 3 drop contains. Sometimes they get pressure if the quarterback rolls out of the pocket, but a lot of times if you just sit in that pocket, you have all day to throw the ball. Now right here, let me just drop it at 2 seconds. So 1-1000, 2-1000. This is what your opponent is going to be looking at this point. Now in my opinion, the only guy that could potentially be open is this drag right here. I think that's Randall Cobb. That's not Cobb. That's Adams. So if your opponent was looking for that, he would hit that drag right there in the flat. But you can see the defender right there is there to play it. So he's going to pretty much hold that to a 2-yard gain. He might be looking for this guy right here on the in route. You can see the strong safety's playing it pretty decently, but then he kind of allows him to go right there. So again, that is the weak part. We've already mentioned that the seams are the weak part of this defense. So if your opponent wants to throw that in that tight window, because you can see that this defensive lineman is also dropping into that area, and then right here he picks him up. So the window right there is he's got to throw the ball right now and hope that that defensive lineman can't get there and pick the ball, right? You've got me right here off the edge, basically block shedded, and I'm coming after the quarterback. So if he hasn't got rid of the ball by now, you see that there's not a whole lot of open defenders. The guy going deep, he's not open. Adams in the flat is covered. Eddie Lacy is covered, and this guy was covered too. He was on a short hitch. As soon as he hitches, look, he's got 2 guys, and he's bracketed by 3 defenders right there. So that is not open. And let me just run it and see how successful. I'm not even going to blitz this time with my guy. I'm just going to let him blitz on his own and see if I can find an open receiver here. Now right here, yeah, that's what I see, and basically he's tackled. So that's kind of what I figured what would happen. That defender is just going to immediately come down, take away. So you can see drags not going to do so well on this defense. Move this guy down. Let's run it one more time. This time I'm going to look for the right slot receiver, see if I can hit him in that little small window. Okay, so you can hit him. So again, that is the weak spot of this defense, but that's not really why we're going to be running this. We're going to run this when we think our opponent is trying to go to those corners, because usually the corner is their first read and they don't really have any other reads after that. Let's look for the deep route on this. Deep route has 2 guys there. That is not going to be there. And let's check Eddie Lacy, see if Eddie Lacy can get open on this. Now this is also a defense you can run if you just want to run coverage. You just want to run, you want to see what your opponent's going to come out in on 3rd down and just want to play it extra safe. And you can see right there. So that's kind of the situation I'm talking about. It's not consistent where it will come every time, but you see that he just loops around the entire line, and look, they get screwed up. I don't know what 69 is doing, but he slides to the inside, allowing this guy to just come in for the sack. So that's another way that this play actually gets pressure, but with maximum coverage all over the field, and that just helps in making your opponent uncomfortable back there when he's trying to look and make his reads. And the thing about that is that if you're coming off the right side and that guy ends up getting lucky coming off the left side, this is actually a pretty decent, let me see, coming off the right side, and now that time he does it to me right there. So that time I'm able to confuse the right tackle and actually just looped around him. He ends up dumbing out and sliding to the inside. Don't know why, but look, he slides inside. I'm sitting there looping, but he slides inside, and this time I'm coming off for the sack. So it's almost like a cover 3 drop. It's kind of like a makeshift cover 3 drop contain, but it does really well against the corners. So that's going to do it for part 2. Make sure you are practicing the setups for part 1 and part 2, especially that last one, the mid-zone blitz. Can get a little bit of finicky when you're trying to loop blitz around the outside. The easiest way to do it there, you could just, instead of looping him, you could just play coverage with that guy. Like I said, take away any receiver that you think your man is going to, because the whole other part of the field will be covered in zones, and you can just take away their primary receiver if you want to, like that. I'm going to be releasing the scheme setup video for these plays and where to put them in the audibles and everything, because it's easier that way instead of writing it out in the description box. Stay tuned for part 3. In part 3, we're going to learn how to attack trip sets. 4 verticals is really a popular play this year. A lot of people are just looking for that inside vertical, and if that is covered, they hit you up the seam. And so our scheme needs to be able to go up against and handle these trip sets, whether it's trips left or trips right. We need to be able to handle that, because a lot of people are just, when they get in trouble on 3rd down, they're just going to go to verticals, or 4th down, they'll go to verticals, and they'll try to face catch you. So we need to be able to bring pressure as well as have good defense and coverage behind it when we're bringing that pressure. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel if you're a new viewer. Until next time, the Anti Madden's out. Peace.